Okay, we're back. 15 games on Sunday. We're going to roll through it. We've got a play for each game. Couple of locks here. We only ask that you hit the thumbs up button and that you subscribe. 70,000 plus and counting here as we reach 100K before the football season. So we want you to be part of this community, man. That's it. Now, a couple of guys missing, of course, from the World Series rematch, but this was one of the more memorable pictures that came from last year. That's how the night's going to end Sunday night baseball in Houston, but we got to get there first, right? Let me tell you what's going on. Today is the last day. The last day you will take advantage of this FanDuel offer, so why not just jump the hell right in? 21 or older, gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. As you know, this is it. Link below. Sign up, $5 into 150. Doesn't matter. Win or lose your bet. Put it on the biggest dog you can find. Win or lose, and you're set. All right? All right. Let's begin. In Miami against the Chicago Cubs. And as you see, we're going to start off the Peacock game of the week, if you will, the early start, what we call it. And we're going to go YRFI right off the bat. Yes, there will be a run in the first inning. We're looking at a couple of pitchers here, Brian Honing, and a guy that you don't even have enough tape on to recognize if he fell on you. And then also, look, Justin Steele has pitched well. I understand that. But Miami is a tough out. We just saw that on Saturday. And here's the thing. Even with Edwin Cabrera just, mowing down, you got some offense. Just barely hanging on, but still higher scoring game. The bats are turning for Miami. That's going to be difficult for, at least in the first inning, for Justin Steele. No lock. I was so tempted to break the lockout here, but these aren't great, long-term profitable bets. You just find your spots with YRFIs, and I think we have here to open things up early in this. Again, the Miami offense, that's what we're looking at the plate, is the biggest difference maker. Let's go to Washington. Now, the play, as you'll see, is under 8.5. And what I love about this is, once again, we're looking at pitching matchups. Oviedo and Gray on the other side, Josiah Gray. Both of these guys, in Johan and Josiah, both of these guys are pitching extremely well to contact. Insanely well in some cases. It's hard to get some hits off of Gray, hard hits off of Gray. Even the exit velocity is a little low for both of these guys. Now, neither one is dominating from a K standpoint in that, it's low 20s. The walks are high 7s, mid 8s. So it's pretty standard for the K to walk ratio. But it's becoming harder and harder for these guys to get hit, at least hit consistently. So I'm targeting the pitchers in this matchup, at least the starting pitchers. Once you get to the bullpen, I know things break a little bit or have the potential to. But both of these guys, Oviedo and Gray, should pitch comfortably through 5 innings, into the 5th inning. And going under 8.5 is the better play for us because we're tailing starting pitching. Not every game we're going to do this, especially with a guy in the row. We're okay, now you got to live up to it. But instead of taking a side, I think the better player here is just going under 8.5. Let's move to Detroit. All right, over 8.5 here. It's a little different, right? The biggest problem that both teams are going to run into is exactly the opposite. And that's Kyle Bradish versus Spencer Turnbull. These guys are willingly giving up runs. These guys are not striking anybody out. They're walking and unable to get out of those jams. Both of these teams, I don't care how high the strikeout rate is for the majority of guys in Detroit. Baltimore is going to hit better. So Baltimore's probably going to do the majority of heavy lifting here. But even still, you're going to get a pretty good outing, I think. You give me 2 runs, 3 runs from Detroit, we're over this easily. Easily. 6-3, something along that to that effect. I think we're fine. We're over that. It's more or maybe most a matter of how much Baltimore can carry its weight. But again, both of these pitchers are just brutal. Turnbull is the worst culprit because of the matchup but Bradish has a bad matchup in the sense of he's the worst element of it. It's just, Detroit's a little bad. They've got some case. I don't think they're going to make this guy look like the reincarnation of Nolan by any means, but we'll see just how bad it can get at the plate for Detroit. Like, if they can't take advantage of this, this is just near rock bottom. To Minnesota we go. Now, we've got some fun stuff happening here in this game that I love. And I targeted at the start of the game. And as you see, this is a lock now. This is a lock. We're going to look at the first 5 in a couple of these games because it maneuvers around either a heavy money line or a total. And in the case here in Minnesota, it's not as bad as it may seem or it's probably worse, I should say, as it may seem for Kansas City. But that's just K's. Like, boom bust definition here. The Royals can hit, and when they do, you can see that they can put together something. It's just the fact that they strike out so much. My God, they strike out so much. That's a problem. Joey Gallo, Byron Buxton, you've got guys in this Twins lineup that will offer it up as well. Here's the problem, though. Brady Singer is not really going to do much. I think Brady Singer gets worked by Minnesota. And if I get 4 runs in the first 5, I can probably get that from Minnesota alone against Brady Singer. He's not doing anything except limiting walks. Now, Sonny Gray is, again, you're going to start to see some of these play out a little bit more as you get more starts from these pitchers. But the problem, of course, is when Gray, like, you can have guys that strike a lot of people out, and when they get hit, they can pitch to contact. Gray is not pitching to contact. He's not pitching well to contact, at least. The K rate is clearly there. Batting average, WOBA, all of that is there. But when the barrel hits the ball, it's flying. That's, it's a little bit of a problem. But I think you can you get 1 run from Kansas City standpoint, you give me 1 run and we're golden. We're fine. This is going over 3.5. That's a lock. Let's go to Shea City. City Field. It's got to be a monsoon, like a swamp up there. I like Atlanta, but I'm not going to lay the 164. So what can we do here? You like Atlanta like I do. You know that Spencer Strider's on the mound versus Tyler McGill, and I mean, come on. It's not even close. The only thing you have is just to close your eyes and hope Strider misses the zone a little bit and lives up to that 9.6% walk rate. But that's not troubling. That's like drop passes for a wide receiver who leads the league in touchdowns or receptions or something like that. It's just volume, the nature of it. That's all, the nature of it. But, man, you start to look at this game, Spencer Strider should dominate. Now, the Mets, the K rate is not there. So Strider's going to have to pitch for contact, which he has done exceptionally well. So the problem with the Mets right now is, where are you going to go? Are you going to be patient and have him work some counts? He's going to blow you back. Are you going to be aggressive and try to go after him? He's pitching really well to contact. Spencer Strider is in his bag this year. And the Mets, they're lost in this game, at least in the first 5. Maybe they come back. Maybe they get to him at some point, 3rd, 4th time through the lineup, if that's even possible. But I think the best play here in this game is to tail Strider. And Strider over McGill stands a significantly better chance at lasting in this game. It's not even close. Not even close. Let's move to Oakland. And also, too, I think if you start to look at these games, you've got a pretty wide array of opportunity. So I'm going to tell you what's going on in the Discord coming up in a second and some other things that you can take advantage of here. But let's look at this. All right, let's look at this. Cincinnati. Now we're going same play. And for those of you who don't play these, FanDuel, it's super easy. You've already signed up, right? You've got your 5 into 150, the link below and all that. Going up against Ken Waldichuk, I'm just taking the better of the 2 pitchers. I'm looking at this and thinking, all right, Nick Lodolo has problems when he's not striking people out. Ken Waldichuk's not doing even that. Like, Ken Waldichuk is coming to the game and doesn't have much working for him. Nick Lodolo, on the other hand, doesn't have a lot working for him outside of the strikeouts, right? Like, outside of the Ks, okay, you're in good, you're in good shape if you're the other side. Like, even if you're lowly Oakland. Problem for them, though, is that there's just K rate after K rate. Ryan Noda, Kevin Smith. I mean, it's basically Brent Rooker has to go 4 for 4 and bring in anybody else that's lucky to get on the bag in front of him. Or Tony Kemp clearing people out at the bottom. Langoliers, Capel, Aguilar, Diaz even. Loreno. I mentioned Smith and Noda. These guys are just striking out. And Nick Lodolo is a strikeout guy. He throws hard. He misses. He's not fantastic, but he misses at times, and that can be a problem, but not in this case. In this case, even missing, I think he'll be okay. Now, I told you what's going on. We're going to go to Boston up in Fenway in a second, but I told you what's going on here with the Discord at the very least. I'm going to give you half off your first week, okay? Half off your first week. Not going to be allowed for a while. I think the biggest thing, just to kind of show you, and look, I'll show you here. That's fine. I'll disappear so you can see this. 30 unit, couple of parlay smashes. You don't want to miss the next one. Like, seriously, you don't want to miss the next one. There are days in which we've had 2, 3, like multiple parlays hit. And I just don't know why you would want to miss that. There's a link below. But look, here's the beauty of it. I know Lindy tells you about this during the week. Ben, Raza, Isaiah, myself, the 4 of us are on there. And it's such an awesome community. That's really what this is about. It's an incredible community that is so smart and well-versed. A lot of people come in. I mean, I have people that coming in off these videos like, hey, I'm new to betting. What do I do? If you're brand new to betting, if you've never placed a bet before, or you're giving picks out, whatever it may be, or anything in between, it's a place for you. I can't tell you how often somebody asks a question and 15, 20, 30 people respond. And it's not like Twitter or some vile, awful place in social media. It's a community. It's a positive community. There is no such thing as a bad question, a stupid question, an ignorant question. Only the textbook definition of ignorant, which is now turned into an insult in some cases. Nothing is off limits. We have fun. We cash tickets, and it's a community. And that's all I want you to be a part of. Now we'll go to Shay. I'm making fun of Citi Field, and now that's coming back to me. Let's go to Fenway, shall we? We're going to go over 4.5 in the total here. First 5. You're going to have to get to Cleveland. You're going to have to go after Cleveland and strike them out, even though they're really difficult to do that. Is Chris Sale the guy to do this? Nah. Now, he may be pitching with the lead. We're going to get 5 runs here. We're going to get 5 runs in the first 5 innings. How do I know this? Because Logan Allen just hasn't been out there enough this year, and Chris Sale is vulnerable. So who's going to take advantage of the opposing pitching first? It's probably going to be Cleveland. Josh Naylor, Jose Ramirez, Will Brennan, Steve Kwan. I'm looking at you, assuming these guys on the line. Even Josh Bell, right? We'll see how the lineup shakes out on a Sunday. I understand. Boston, they should take advantage, absolutely should take advantage of Logan Allen. We know that it's a hitter-friendly park. A lot of this stuff is just starting to add up, isn't it? Add up. I love going over 4.5 here. I was so tempted. Now, again, locks are locks. We got a couple coming up. But this is like, if there was anything in between a lean and a lock, or a like and a lock, it would be this. I'm not in love, but I'm in like. I'm not in lock. I don't know. That didn't sound as well as I thought it did. But I think you're going to get some runs here. And we're targeting starting pitching, attacking them. Cleveland is just such a difficult out. Oof. Oh, here we go. Mexico, by the way. Mexico. In case you forgot, this game is being played in Mexico. It's up 20.5 is the total. Look, man, I mean, just play home runs here. Seriously. Just play home runs. I'm locking up San Diego on the money line because of the better pitching, and that's really all I can do. But, I mean, Yu Darvish gives up a routine pop-up to left field, and it looks like Babe Ruth to Mark McGwire to the all-timer and Barry Bonds. Like Hank Aaron is out there smashing baseballs, or Barry Bonds is out there smashing baseballs in some sort of warm-up. It's not even like a home run derby. So I have no choice but to go with the better pitcher here, and that's Yu Darvish over Alex Cobb. Alex Cobb isn't awful, but these guys are just going to get smacked around, super smacked around. I don't know what to tell you. I think you should start targeting home runs. All right, so this is what I'll tell you as far as the strategy in this game, because it's going to be super watered down, right? We know it's going to be super watered down. But what I would do is I would actually target guys on the Giants, and I would target like back end 6, 7, 8, 9 in the lineup, and I would play home runs with them. That's where you're going to get the best value, going up against the better pitcher and the back end of a lineup. And here's the thing. I don't know how bad they beat up on you, or I don't know how bad they beat up on Alex, but between Cobb and Darvish, these guys are going to give up some runs here. Bullpen, etc. Like, you're going to see at-bats. If you are betting on guys at the back end of the Giants lineup, you are going to see some quality at-bats against relief pitching. And it doesn't matter at that point because it's the same altitude in the same ballpark. So I'll take the money line lock of the San Diego Padres simply because of the favorite being Yu Darvish. But I'm going to target a lot of home runs in this game, and it's going to be the back end of the lineups. All right, we move on to Milwaukee. Hey, this one, man, how about yesterday? If you just wanted to look at this game, I know that there was some concern about Corbin Burns and what to take. And Brewers, they hold on. 7-5 is the final. And, you know, typical Mike Trout fashion, just meaningless action in a game in which they were never really going to win. Typical Mike Trout. That's his career defined, the amasser. He's a poor man's Rafael Palmeiro. Over 5.5 first 5 in this game. We're going to get offense again. Now, the pitching matchup should be an area to target, but it's not the only one, right? And the reason is because Jose Suarez and Colin Rea are just, they're just bad. They're just bad. Both guys, double-digit K to walk ratio, 14 to 10.5, 14.3 to 11. I mean, this is just bad. Bad. Both guys are getting hit. Exit velocities just high 80 or low 90s. People are crushing the baseball too, especially with Milwaukee in this case. So we already know, all right, Trout, Ohtani, Rendon. That slugging percentage, I think, could be a little bit higher for Rendon, but he's not striking out. I don't know what point of attack there will be for either pitcher in this game. I really don't. I mean, that number is high at 6, isn't it? But still, how much higher could it get to where you would still be like, yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe over 7.5. The total is at 9, and you need to go over 6 in the first 5 because they know the starting pitching is just fucking atrocious with these guys. And that's what we're going to target. Tampa Bay run line here, folks. Tampa Bay run line. We're not laying 188 in this game. No, sir. No, ma'am, we're not doing it. But I still think that there's some value with Drew Rasmussen. Probably a K ladder here. I would look at that. Mike Clevenger is going to get rocked. Absolutely destroyed here. Hammered. That's what he does. Except it's not going to get hard hit. Like, you're going to wear Clevenger down, but he's going to give you opportunities to. Even if it's like singling him to death. You'll get on the bag. You know that. He's going to walk you. He's not going to strike you out. Drew Rasmussen's going to strike everybody out. And good luck even turning on him. This is a bad matchup for Chicago. Especially because you got a couple of guys with high-level at-bats that are striking out way too high from a percentage standpoint to battle Rasmussen. Away on the road, I get it. Maybe there's some sort of softener or evening it out. Not for me. No, not for me. I don't have much more than just Tampa Bay. I'm super confident that Tampa Bay can handle its business because of the discrepancy, the gap between both the ability to avoid strikeouts for Tampa and the pitching matchup. Of course, Field we go. Over 12 this time. Over 12. So on Saturday, as you know, we had a play in this game. And look, it was sitting at 12.5, right? We knew it was sitting at 12.5. So this one goes up to 15. We miss it. D-backs just onslaught, absolute onslaught. I think, though, the pitching matchup is one that can change the direction of this game, at least from a total standpoint. And look, I think the bigger problem that Colorado is going to have is still manufacturing runs. Austin Gomber is probably going to get beat up again. And Ryan Nelson is not fantastic. There's not much saving grace here, except that, the Diamondbacks haven't really I don't necessarily think this will always transfer in. I also think you're going to see some guys sit. After that onslaught on Saturday, I think you may see one or two guys sit in this game on both sides. That's going to limit offense too. So some of this is just waiting for the starting lineup to come out, but I don't think you're going to see both teams right there fully loaded. I want to get ahead of that. I want to get ahead of a little regression for Arizona following their 11-run Saturday night. I want to say, all right, we're comfortable here going over 12. No. See, all of that's wrong. What you'd want to do is come right back, all right? Forget that stuff. You're trying to reason something that can't happen. So let's really look at this game. You can't start to look at both Nelson and Gomber and say anything other than run. I think you're right back to it. The only thing is, even if you get backups in there, which I do think is a point, the pitching is so atrocious, so bad. I actually think Colorado is going to stand a pretty good chance at bumping up what we saw even last night and scoring a little bit more. 6 runs for the Rockies. 9 runs for Arizona? That's kind of how I would see it. Little regression for Arizona, but not to the point where this doesn't go over. St. Louis on the money line. One more lock to go, and that's Houston. St. Louis on the money line. Ooh. I can't wait to watch this game. This is going to be fun. I know there's other stuff happening, etc., but you've got a really beatable pitcher on the mound for both squads. And Noah Syndergaard, Thor, is not turning anything around. He still is struggling. Guys are hitting for average against him. Guys aren't striking out against him. The problem is that Jake Woodford is doing everything wrong except walking people. That's not great. But, man, St. Louis, I feel like the Dodgers they're tough. Like, the Dodgers are tough. You know that. You've got a difficult stretch. Hayward, Freeman. You've got, Betts. These guys are drawing walks on top of limiting their Ks. It's really a tough matchup. But I think the problem for LA, the number one that we look to address, Syndergaard, it's a worse matchup for Syndergaard against St. Louis. You're feeding into what St. Louis does best with Syndergaard. Avoiding Ks, walking, and when hit, you've got guys that are just crushed. Now, look, LA does as well. But we're kind of expecting a little slump here for Wolford. If Syndergaard gets rocked early, this is a total game as 2. Look, you see this at 10. But now, Syndergaard, he's just going to get chased really fast. You might see 4 or 5 runs through the first 2 or 3 innings for St. Louis, mainly because this matchup against Syndergaard just doesn't favor him in any category at all. And look, I get it. On the other side, you can make that same argument, but I think LA, they get to him first. Last play. Under 8.5. Lock it up. Lock it up. Bailey Falter, surprisingly decent here. Phillies on the road, I'm not trusting it. Well, I mean, what about yesterday? What about Saturday? Come on. You saw the Phillies put up 6 runs. Yeah, they still stayed under this. Zach Wheeler was on the hill. The problem that the Phillies have is just going to be consistency and regression. And you're going to get a little bit of that. 4 runs, I would think. Jose Urquidy is pretty good. So the thing about Urquidy, now he's not been great this year, granted. But neither is Bailey Falter outside of just barely limiting the damage. I think there's going to be a quicker hook on Falter as well. And ultimately, Urquidy, you've got guys like Schwarber, right? Living and dying off the home run. Couple of randoms. Castellanos, another one. Living and dying off the homer and double. It's not as easy to get some super fast, super high EV off Urquidy. That's one thing that he has been doing really well. So I'm good. We're going to stay here, lock fashion, and keep it going. End of the night, Sunday Night Baseball. Little offense, but not a lot of offense. Little regression from the Phillies. Not much. Maybe you get 2 or 3 runs for the Astros. You're going to stay under 8.5. All right? You'll stay under 8.5. Thanks again for rolling with us. Appreciate it. All right? You got every play in there across the board. Hit that thumbs up button. Take advantage of what we have below on FanDuel. The Discord, the link is there. All this stuff is there for you. Just appreciate you being here, really. And we'd love for you to subscribe. Love for you to subscribe.